Well, good morning, everybody. It is very early. Let's see, right now it is 5 o'clock, and I think I'm gonna get started. I can see the first hint of light outside, and I've still in my tent. I'm just kind of getting my sleeping bag together and trying to get all my stuff together and get ready to go. So this is day 3 of my Pine Mountain Trail trip, and this has been so much fun. The last night was a little anxious because it was dark down here. I'm in a valley. There was no light at all. The canopy is so thick. You can hear the bugs and the birds coming out now. But it was just so dark. There's no moon. I had a good fire going, and it lasted most of the night. I had some big old all-nighter logs, as I call them, the ones that burn in half, and then you got to flip them over and put them in. You know, every little sound that I heard, I thought something was coming in my tent. Now I can see a little shine of light out. I'm just kind of gathering my stuff. Thank you guys for hanging out with me again. And as soon as the light kind of gets bright enough I can hike, then I'm gonna get going. I think I've got maybe 5 hours at the most of hiking. 9.5, 10 miles left. It's supposed to get up to like 91, 92 today. And I want to get hiking before it gets hot because I've been sweating. Like right now, if you could smell this shirt, it's the scent of death. I'm just telling you. This is my birthday hike, turning 50, and done a lot of pontificating and reminiscing and stuff in this, and I'm gonna do some more of that today. We'll get moving on here in a minute. I'm gonna get everything packed up, get some coffee, get ready to hike. Day 3, that was my campsite. It's cleaned up. That was my campfire. It's cleaned up. I filtered some water. I didn't want any breakfast. Just too anxious to get back on the trail. Let's get going. I got 9.5 miles to make it to my truck, and it should be a beautiful day. It's about 69 degrees, but it's gonna quickly get up to about 91, 92, I think, maybe 70 degrees right now. It is, let's see, 5:52 my time, 6:52 Eastern time. So starting a little before 7, ready to get going. Took me a while to get going. All right. All right, kind of sad leaving the Beach Bottom campsite. It was a nice place to stay, though a little rocky and a lot of roots and not quite too level in spots. But I found a place. It was a great night. I was a little anxious spending the night alone there with very dark, lots of movement outside. But I found some time in between all the scaredness to get to sleep. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out, get home. Let's get started. So I was thinking last night about some of the reflections I had about this hike that I'm doing, birthday hike. So another reflection of turning 50. And I remembered last night I was laying in the tent and I was wide awake, thinking I was hearing animals coming toward my tent. I was thinking about another thing that impacted me over the last 50 years. And that was 9/11. That was a catastrophic disaster of terrorism. Really shook me to the bones. I was a little too old then to join the military, but I thought about it. Maybe I should have. But 9/11 was just such a thing that just stopped the nation. I remember I was at work and I heard the news and all the airplanes and airports were shut down, no flights. And then as those two planes crashed, the second one on live news, and then the plane going toward the Pentagon, and then the plane in the field. It was just absolutely destruction, and it really impacted me and changed how I view things, and just how, you recognize how things can change in a second. But it was a crazy time. Another impactful thing over these last 50 years for me has been movies. At different times in my life when things have happened, will somehow relate it back to a movie or song. I mean, song's the same way. But I remember one time when my dad told me he had cancer. He came and met me. I was in graduate school, and he came and met me and with my mom, and they seemed very serious, and it was just kind of a devastating day. And he said, let's go to a movie. And so we went and saw Forrest Gump. I still have the receipt that I keep in my Bible of that movie. And I think it was 1994, at least what the receipt says. I'm not exactly sure. Great movie. As well as movies like Dead Poet Society. I saw that before I went off to New York for school. I remember when I saw first time Dances with Wolves. Oh my gosh, it's just the cinematography and the story of this person going out west. And then I remember as a kid, first time seeing Star Wars, and thought I was blown away that they could make that kind of stuff. I mean, that was before all the movie magic that they have now. Yeah, movies have really impacted me over these last 50 years. I'm just trying to get out of here before the heat hits in. And it's really nice right now. The sun's coming up. It's just beautiful. Okay, I made it to Jenkins Spring campsite. And the campsite goes down there, and then it goes up there to a nice little flat area. So that might be a nice campsite. I think I hear water over there, so I think it's close to water. The only thing about Ultras is that toe flap comes off. Look at that. Both toe flaps are off a little bit. And this is my first hike, third day of hiking. Toe flaps are detached. Okay, I made it to the Big Knot. There's the Big Knot campsite. Country store is 7.8. That's where my truck is, hopefully. Yeah, I hope it's there. All four wheels and everything. And the tower is 15.2 back the other way. That's where I started. Sun is up and we're moving down the trail. It's been really fun. That looks like a good campsite too. Pretty close to water. There's the cowboy trail. You know what that means. I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride, and I want it dead or alive. That's terrible. All right, yet another reflection as I turning 50 on this birthday hike here. And that is so influential in my 50 years is my mom. She's been a rock for me. I mean, just anything I needed. She believed in me when people didn't believe in me. She's been awesome. And she's really made me who I am today, for better or for worse. But she's a saint. And Mom, I love you. I know you'll be watching this video. You're probably the only one that'll be watching the video. So the question for day 2 is, because it's Father's Day, I know that there are some people that don't have a father just because of life circumstances. And I was fortunate that I had a wonderful father. And he's been so supportive of me in anything I did. And so the question for this video is, do you have a good story of things you did with your dad, if you have a dad? If not, was it an uncle or another mentor that helped you get through some times? For me, it was my dad. He did everything with me, supported me in anything I did. Thanks, Dad. I have made it to the Long Leaf Loop, it looks like. Let's see, everything's going that way. Long Leaf Loop. I'm not exactly sure where I am. This map doesn't make sense. Everything's pointing that way. So I guess I'll go up here to the road. Maybe I'll figure it out there. Okay, now I see the signs. So I'm trying to get to the state park headquarters. That's 2.4 because I got about a half liter of water left. Yes, made it to mile 6. Way to go, Hiker Smurf. So another influential thing or reflections of age 50. I mentioned my wedding, but I really didn't talk specifically about my wife. She's been a very calming person for me. I'm a little OCD, you know, just very competitive, I guess, at times. And she has a calming effect on that, and a very common sense person. She's also supported me and allowed me to do all these hiking stuff that I love to do. That is somebody who, over the last 24 years, who has been very influential in my life and helped me out a lot. Thanks, Miss Crow. Okay, here's the Broken Tree campsite. Boy, that's a nice campsite. And I hear water down there beyond the campsite. So this would be a good one to camp at.
Boy, I'm glad I started early because it's already hot. I think it's getting up to like 92 today. Not too far from the state park office. Senior hiker told me that I can get water there. They sell water, so I'm less than half a liter. Hopefully I can buy some water there and push on. In my mind, I knew that there was a climb attached to getting up to the state park office, because when I came up here, I knew it was straight up. I knew I was kind of low on the trail, and I knew something was going to happen. Sure enough, I've been climbing for about a quarter mile, and I'm still going. Hopefully the state park office is open. Hopefully they sell water, and hopefully, or if not, they have a spigot, I can get some water. If not, I'm in some deep doo-doo. Okay, I'm in between mile 4 and mile 3, and looks like trail keeps going that way, and the country store is 3.7, so I got 3.7 left, and I'm about to go up that way to the store and pray that they're open so I can get some water. I'm just about. That was refreshing. I think I had 2 Powerades. I feel like $1,000,000. So it looks like I've got 3.7 left to the country store. Probably the last thing I'll talk about as far as my 50 years and what's influenced me and made me, what I am for better or worse is my faith. Always been a person that thinks about spiritual things. I don't have the answers to anything or everything. I'm just a person who likes to think about spiritual things and know who I am in my faith. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm no better or worse than anybody else. I'm just a fallen person saved by grace. I'm getting close. I'm about to see mile marker 3, I think. And then I'll be getting close to the end. Kind of rocky through this last 3.5 miles. I'm on basically the edge of the cliff. You can't see it because of all the foliage. It's just out there. And the road is behind the camera up the mountain there. And I'm kind of on the edge on the side, just following the road. If it was fall, you could see the views. I'm telling you, they need to change the name of this trail to the Pine Lizard Trail. Everywhere I turn, there is some sort of colorful lizard. They're awesome, but they still kind of scare me a little bit because I think they're a snake. So this looks like the junction here for the loop that goes over to the FDR campground, but I'm not going that way. I'm going to Dead Pines, which is point 3, and keep going to the end. So this is a little junction. So I've come from the park office, I've come straight down the side of the mountain and cross the road and straight down to here. So I assume that I'm gonna have to go back up to get back to the end. Oh well, it's part of it. 2.2 to the country store. There's the Dead Pines campsite. I thought about staying there at one point and then decided to do something different. I could, you know, you could probably do this trail in 2 days, or even a day if you really, but to enjoy it, it's probably best to do it in 3 days. But 2.2 to the end, and I just passed this hatchery abandoned in World War II where they hatchery for fish. It's all these ponds. It's kind of neat. Senior hiker said this last mile seems like it goes on forever. We're about to find out. Senior hiker wasn't kidding. This last mile, as senior hiker said, is very long. It feels more like 2 miles. I guess it's because it's at the end. All right, let's finish this. Last mile. There she is. All right, we made it. Me and Hiker Smurf made it to mile 0. All right, everybody, I'm done. Mile 0, Hiker Smurf and I made it the 23 miles, and so it's time to go home. So I'm gonna take this thing off, set it down, and say to everybody, thank you so much for following this. I think it'll be a 3-part series following the Pine Mountain Trail. It was fun. Thanks so much to Senior Hiker and Mike P. and Iron Braid Adventures for helping me out on the trail and giving me trail magic. Appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you next time on the next edition of As the Crow Flies Hiking.